Hello! Welcome back to the Happiness Games for Romantic Relationships. This week, I will review the birth and the development of attachment theories. And for those of you who are very curious, always want to better yourself, and how you show up in romantic relationships, and what are the roots of your behaviors as for attachment with your partner, this episode is for you. And for those of you who are very practical, want some guidance or tips, stay till the end after you understand where attachment theory is coming from and how that interact with polyvagal theory and neuroscience. Then you will have a better application of those guidance and tips I give you in the end. For those who don't know me, my name is Zhao. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in the state of California. I'm a specialist in couple therapy and working with families. I have trainings in somatic psychotherapy, couples therapy, and ongoing training with a system-centered research and teaching institute. Let's begin. So I'm going to do a summary of my master term paper on attachment theory for you today within 10 minutes. That's a challenge I'm taking on today. So it all started by the term attachment coined by Bowlby in the 1960s, 70s, 80s. So a caveat about Bowlby, he's from a British family where he got to see his mother only 1 hour a day, while for the rest of the time he was brought up and educated and raised and cared for by his nanny, Minnie. When he was about 4, somehow Minnie left the service for their family, and so he had a huge loss of attachment, secure attachment figure in his life. So he dedicated all his life to research, and he has his trilogy. The first one is called attachment. The second one is called separation. The third one is called loss, where he really explored his feelings of frustration, anxiety, and sadness and grief when he lost his attachment figure, Minnie. See how sometimes a tragic experience can really inspire someone to do something really wonderful and give back to the world. And so the research didn't stop there. His collaborator, Mary Ainsworth, continued with the study with the famous strange situation research, where they had a caregiver, I think they used a mother and a baby, and they did all kind of research and different scenarios and record and gather the data. And where Ainsworth found out 3 types of attachment styles. So type A is actually insecure attachment, is avoidant. Type B is secure attachment. Type C, back then they're called resistance, ambivalent attachment. Later, I think developed into more preoccupied, anxious attachment style. And later, Mary Ainsworth's student, Mary Main, added a 4th type of attachment style. It's called disorganized attachment style. So while they're all doing this research and developed the theory of attachment, actually earlier or at the same time with Bowlby, there was another researcher. He is called Harlow. He did a famous monkey exercise or monkey experiment. Well, he gave a baby monkey 2 surrogate mothers. One is the bob-wired one that has a milk bottle attached to it. The other one doesn't have a milk bottle, but is covered with terry cloth that's like really furry and warm and comfort. So his conclusion after his research from this experiment is little monkeys prefer to drink the milk from the first one and go cuddle and spend a lot of time with the terry cloth covered, cuddly, what we call lovey mommy. So his conclusion is for primates, we're not only attached to the source of food, that's why we want our mother, is because we get a physical comfort with warmth and touch, and those cuddling and sensation bring comfort to them. So that's actually a supplement for the attachment theory Bowlby gave. So how about that develop into our modern times? We now have Dan Siegel, who did a lot of research and coined the terms interpersonal neurobiology. It talks about how secure and insecure attachment come from this term he called neurointegration. Neurointegration meaning your prefrontal cortex actually can regulate your limbic system. It was a successful linkage neural pathway that's formed when you're growing up and being cared for by caregivers. On the opposite, when you have insecure attachment, there is interruption in the formation of this neural pathway. So there's no neural integration. And his theory actually is backed up by polyvagal theory, which studied this big nerve running through from our brain to our digestive system to our elimination system, all through our body. So according to polyvagal theory, when we're in the optimal zone, which is the ventral state, we are having integration, neural integrations. But when we're either in the fight or flight, which is activating our limbic system, or we are in the shutdown dorsal state, there's no integration. Then that is an interruption of the neural integration. So now you can kind of understand why it's important for them to develop the theory and research to show how a primary caregiver and a baby interaction can really form someone's neural pathway and their brain and their pattern of interacting with the world. So it started from diets, a parent-child. Back then they're really doing research on mother and the infant, and which get expanded later more as a primary caregiver and an infant, because father and other people can also be caregivers for babies and have significant impact on the child's development in their brain. Well, nowadays we get into the more micro look at our body, our brain, our nervous system, and how from that lens, how that impact our attachment. I want to bring in another perspective which already being indicated by polyvagal theory. So polyvagal theory talk about co-regulation, not just the caregiver co-regulation, but also the co-regulation from nature, from animals, from plants, from music. So there's actually a protocol called the Safe and Sound protocol that developed to train your brains with music. So music have a significant impact on our nervous system co-regulation. I'm having some soothing music in the background, as you can probably hear that. And also community. Community and groups can be a secure attachment base for our nervous system to develop earned secure attachment. And spiritual practice and spiritual community can also be a source. So I want to show you with our plushie borrowed from my children how a secure attachment neural pathway is formed. So it's more visual for you. So if you remember, that's our little friend, Tutu. And in this case, Tutu is a minor. And that's the caregiver that's called the Limi. So I say, Tutu got hurt. Tutu fell and got hurt. And they started crying. And now Limi came and saying, oh, Tutu, let me hold you. You fell, and that must hurt, and you're crying. So now Tutu is getting some cuddling and comfort from Limi, while Limi uses words and language to link. See, that's talking to the prefrontal cortex of Tutu. You fell. That's a fact. It must hurt. That is a mind read and prediction, and give Tutu the words. What does the feeling like when you're feeling pain in your body, and maybe emotionally as well. And then when Limi is holding Tutu, giving comfort, Tutu's like, I can really smell you, and you're so soft, and you're so cuddly. I feel much better. And as Tutu may still have tears on their face, but they start to smile, as this is very comfortable and comforting for Tutu. That is to speak to the limbic system of Tutu. And now Tutu learned in the real way, physical way, well, I felt sometimes I hurt myself, and this sensation I do not like. But when Limi is offering a hug and comfort and touch and soft talking to me, Tutu is being co-regulated, and Tutu learned it's okay. I feel okay soon. It's okay to hurt, but I will be okay eventually. So this is one neural pathway that's being formed. And if Limi is being very consistent to show up for Tutu and to co-regulate, to offer those comfort, Tutu will form a secure attachment with Limi. So in our future sessions, I will be talking more about anxious attachment, avoidant attachment with the help of Tutu and other stuffies to show you how those are formed. But today, thank you for staying till now. I want to give you some tips or guidance. So if you notice that you might now have a secure attachment formed with your primary caregivers early on, and you would like to grow more secure self-attachment, how do you do that? If I give you 3 really simple tips for you to start your journey. Number 1 is you want to start to develop this calming, soothing, loving voice like Limi. It's okay to get hurt, but you will be okay. I'm here for you. Let me talk to you in a very calm, loving, and soothing way. There are many ways for you to develop that voice. You can listen to podcasts, you can co-regulate, you can go to therapy, and if your therapist is very compassionate and supports you, you can use their voice, and you can hear that voice inside of you when you're stressed. It's okay to fall. It's okay to feel pain. I see you, and I know your experience is very human. It's very normal. It's okay to cry. And you will be fine later when you downregulate, and I'm here for you. One of my favorite podcasts is from Louise Hay, and her voice is so soothing. That really helped to develop that kind and nice voice and said, I approve myself, I'm okay. And there's also the ACT, acceptance commitment therapy, that's really emphasizing on the acceptance of your state. From there, you can generate more changes. The second tip I have for you is to really make a list of all the resources that you can go to for co-regulation. List as many as possible, from music to movement practices to nature to your pet animals and to your friends to your groups to communities to spiritual practice to your artistic expression. So I'm reading this book called By Any Other Names. It's written about this woman. She was a writer, she was a playwright and poet. When she was experiencing extreme trauma in her life, she started to put her energy into writing and create those characters that have her strong emotions as a channel. It's very healing for her. It sustained her. So that's another resource to co-regulate through writing, to creativity. It could be arts, it could be music, it could be drawing, it could be writing. So make as many as possible on your list, so when you're in a stress, you can go through your list of resources to try everything that you can to co-regulate. The third one I want to give it to you is to lower your expectations. If you're in a romantic relationship, you may think, well, I want my partner to be there to give me that positive voice and co-regulate with me whenever I'm in distress, either physically or emotionally. Please let go of this expectation that your partner will be there for you every single time you need and exactly the way you need, because they're human too. So thank you for viewing today. What type of attachment that you have with your primary caregiver? It could be different from your mother, your father, and other caregivers in your life. And how do you know that you feel safe and secure with them? I'll see you next week, my friends.